So this is a quick demo of my masterclass project. It's basically a particle-based simulation system. It's a system whereby particles' positions and velocities are simulated based on forces and constraints. I've implemented a sort of a cloth side to it, which implements a few forces and constraints that are useful for cloth, and then a cloth object which is responsible for creating those based on a mesh that's passed in. So there's a few different ways to use this. So I've created here the demo of cloth being pinned with a constraint and colliding with a sphere. That's also a constraint. Also, the distances between the vertices are maintained via constraints. Here's another example of it. Basically, the system works by projecting the points forward based on their forces, and then shifting all the constraints around in an iterative process until they're all satisfied, and then it passes on to the next frame. Here's a slightly higher resolution one, handling it quite well. If there is a case where it can't solve it within a certain amount of iterations, it will go back and try and do it slower with a smaller time step. So that seems to have worked there. Here's another one, but this time it's had one of its points constrained to a certain position, so you can see it's kind of falling down there. It's still colliding with the spheres. It's quite easy to set this scene up. Basically, you just say which objects you want, put them in the scene, and the system manages the whole thing. Here's another implementation of it. So this is still a cloth sim, but with very rigid constraints. So you can see one of the corners has been pinned. It basically acts like sort of a rigid body, almost. It's pretty much soft body simulation. You can see it here colliding with the spheres. You can see how it dents and moves. This is basically just a cloth sim, but applied to a cube shape. So it's bouncing around there. There's no friction implemented at the moment, which is why things are sliding around a bit. Here we see a sphere colliding with it. It has quite low constraint threshold, so it's able to kind of crumple. You can see how it's a sort of soft body crumpling. So overall, I'm quite pleased with the system. There'll be quite a lot of cool applications for this. It's basically a general simulation thing, so everything will kind of work together. But yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah, I hope you like it.